last session we discussed about how to install Minikube locally for macOS, and we have successfully installed. And today's session we will discuss about the objects, Kubernetes objects, how we can start with pods. So basically, this Kubernetes uses YAML files as inputs for creating the objects such as pods, replicas, deployment, services, etc. etc. Before moving to that, we can discuss about the what are all the elements we need. I think this is the fields which is required to create the YAML file, and we'll open the notepad. We'll discuss on that. New document. Not taking. No. Wait for a second. Yesterday we discussed it, right? Okay. Here we will discuss working with pods. Okay. We'll change it to default. Okay. Then so here working with pods. Pod is nothing but a single instance of an application. That is the smallest object which you will create in the Kubernetes. Pods usually have one-to-one relationship with the containers running in your application. Suppose if you are going to increase the pod count, that means you can scale up by creating the new pods, and scale down by deleting the existing pods. See, I can say pod is a single instance of an application, and smallest object that you can create in Kubernetes. Okay. The next point is pods usually have one-to-one relationship. So with containers running in your application. To scale up, create a new pods. Sorry. And to scale down, delete existing pods. This is how you need to work with the pods. But here we can see this pods usually it will take as a YAML file as input, right? So we'll discuss about the basic YAML file syntaxes that is familiar. If you are working with a YAML file, that is more easy. And if you see that yesterday we installed, right, I was started this Minikube, and this is the cluster default namespace it was created. And if you see this Minikube in the Docker container, it was downloaded and it was started here when I hit the command minikube start. Now you will see this if any resources available in your system in the default namespace currently. Check kubectl get nodes. See Minikube. Once we install Minikube, right, it will create the single node cluster with the version 1.33. This is the version with the Kubernetes. V1 version is the V1, and 3.3 is the yeah, this is the Kubernetes version. That means API version is the one, and the Kubernetes version, and the major version and minor version. check if any pods available. So there is no pods available in our system currently. But before moving that, we will discuss about the top level elements which is required to create the YAML file. API version, kind, metadata, spec. These are the top level elements which is available in the YAML file. This is the version of the Kubernetes API we are using to create the object. Depending on what object we are trying to create, and we must use the right version, otherwise we will get error. We'll get the API version as v1, and kind type of the object which you are going to create. So since we are working with pods, we can create pod. Make sure that the P is a capital. So suppose if you are working with a deployment, D is a capital, services S is a capital, like that. Likewise metadata, here we can say all these labels, names and all, it will come here is the data object, like name, labels and label names, etc. We can say spec under spec, right? But make sure that you can give the two spaces before creating under metadata, then name, labels, I can say tire. I'm just giving the sample input. This is not the name. You can give any name, my pod, like that. Under spec, these are the highlighted elements, are the top level elements. See, API version, the current version of the Kubernetes API, and kind is the type of object you are going to create. Under metadata, we can keep names, labels and etc, etc. As under spec, we can specify the image name and container. Suppose if you are working with Redis or nginx, we can specify these names and all here. Nginx name, image. Likewise, so since it will take as a list type, so each hyphen represents the one list. Suppose if you are working with multiple images, we can work with multiple images as well by specifying one more name and image. Likewise, these are the top level elements, and we can see how we can create here. Now I will create with a command line prompt, since it is the single instance and the smallest object. I don't think so it will be available with the command. I will create the deployment and we can get it from there. Okay, we'll check the syntaxes. Create -h, you will get the help from here by create kubectl create -h help. That means what are the commands available. See, available commands here: cluster role, role binding, config map, cron job, deployment. So these are the available, but I don't see this pod is available. So we can create the deployment and we can see here kubectl create -f options. Okay, let me go through this, make it clear. Kubectl create deploy. Okay, my deploy -name. Okay, name already given, kubectl create deploy, my deploy -image nginx, or else we can give this nginx deploy also. Okay, but we are not specifying anything related to namespace here, but keep in mind created. Now check kubectl get deploy. See, nginx deployment is currently up and running. So in the likewise, but once we create the deployment, it will create the replica set as well. A replica set, we'll discuss it for later on this. Let me check if it is available or not. Kubectl get deploy. Sorry, we already get it, right? Yes, we see Kubernetes. This is the default service name, and we will see that RS kubectl get RS in the sense replica set. See, if you observe clearly, so nginx deploy, this is the deployment name. Along with this, it was created one id. That means based on the, it was taking the prefix as a deployment name and creating the replica set. Okay, now we can get the pod. Kubectl get pod. See, this one also, it was taking the prefix as a deployment name, and the other one as a pod identification. So currently up and running. When if we try to edit this deployment nginx, we'll see this complete configuration, how it is working. Nginx depl edit, we must specify the deployment name. See, this is how it was created. Deployment apps v1. See, here the API version is apps v1, but what I told you earlier, this is v1. For deployment and replica set, we need to specify the apps v1, otherwise we will get the error, because it was creating this only for the services and pods deployments except for deployment and replica set, we need to specify the v1 only. Metadata, see, uh, we discussed this one. What are all we keep under the metadata section? We can see these annotations and the timestamp, labels, names, namespace. So this is the default one, configuration, and under spec we can see this replicas one selector match label. By default it was taking the selector as match labels. Okay, this is the default. No update is required. I can quit it. We'll see edit pod nginx depl hyphen, what is that name, 68, right? We'll hit that one. We'll take this complete name. See, here the API version is v1. You clearly observe this one first. So for what we seen for the deployment, it is apps v1, but here is v1. What is the difference between deployment and this one? For deployment, which will create the apps v1, and here API version is v1. So keep in mind that both are different. So for pod, we can see this kind pod. Earlier for deployment, it is deployment. Remaining things and all same, except under the container section we can see this replicas and selector labels, but here no selector labels, because it is not a deployment, it is only the pod. Okay, no changes. Get pods hyphen n cube system. This is the default namespace for Minikube. We'll see this what are and all. See, yesterday we discussed this one as well. It is cd API server controller manager scheduler. These three things which will be available under the Kubernetes architecture of the master node. Master node in the sense four nodes, four elements in the master node and three elements in the worker node. Worker node kube proxy, container, kubelet. Three things available. I hope you got this, how you can create it, and I will create one more. It kubectl create deploy, my deploy, I can say hyphen image equal to, so sorry, Redis. Okay, I'm giving as my deploy and creating the Redis. It will download it from the Docker hub and it will be installed. We'll see these apps my deploy created, and we will get the deployments as well. See, it is not up till now. We'll see nginx deploy and my deploy both are available, and kubectl get deploy. Again we will hit this command. Still not up. Wait for a moment and it will be up and running. And hit the command. See, now it is up and running. What you have seen this last time, the same way we can get the cattle gate or as replica set. See, there are two replica sets. nginx is one, previous one. My deploy is the latest one, and we can see pod as well. Cattle get pods. See, my deploy pod and nginx pod both are available. This is how you need to work with the pods. That's all for now. And once it is done, we can clear all this by deleting the kubectl delete deploy nginx deploy. nginx deploy is one, my deploy one. We'll delete my deploy first. So it has my deploy was deleted. We can get this command by hitting the deploy. See, now it is only one available. So once you delete the deploy application, it will delete the replica set. It will delete will also delete pod as well. Delete nginx deploy nginx -depl. Now you can see it deploy empty, no resources. Kubectl get deploy, no namespaces, kubectl get rs nothing, cattle get pods nothing. So every resource will be deleted once you deleted the deployment, and it will be linked with the replica set along with the pod, so that it will be deleted. This is how you need to work with the creating the pod via command line, and we will see a manual creation by creating the YAML file instead of command line. If you have any doubts, and post it in the comment section, we will have a discussion on that. And if you are interested, you can if anyone interested in these lectures, and don't forget to subscribe, and post it if any comments or suggestions are more appreciated on that. Thank you.